Picture this. It's the 1950s, and the world is about to change forever. In the clubs of St. Louis, Missouri, a young African-American guitarist is about to do something no one has ever done before. His name is Chuck Berry, and although he doesn't know it yet, he is about to invent rock and roll. But this is not just the story of a musician. It is the story of a revolutionary, a man who defied norms, broke barriers, and with his guitar, wrote the anthem of a generation. This is the story of the true king of rock. Before starting this video, remember to subscribe and like it. It all begins in a modest home in St. Louis, where Charles Edward Anderson Berry was born on October 18th, 1926. From an early age, Chuck showed a deep interest in music. His family was not wealthy, but there was always room for music in his home. His father was a deacon in a Baptist church, and his mother was an amateur pianist. It was in this environment that Chuck began to discover his passion. But life was not easy for a young African American at that time. Racism and segregation were a daily reality, and Chuck did not escape those challenges. In fact, his adolescence was marked by trouble with the law. At 18, he was sent to reform school for armed robbery. It was a dark time, but also a turning point. During those years, Chuck began playing guitar and dreaming of a different future. When he got out of reform school, Chuck Berry got married and started working in an automobile factory. But music never left him. At night, he played in local clubs, where he mixed blues, country, and rhythm, and blues. It was a unique sound, a fusion that no one else was doing. And though he didn't know it, he was creating something that would change the world. It was in one of those clubs that he met Muddy Waters, one of the blues greats. Waters was impressed with Berry's talent and recommended him to Leonard Chess, the founder of Chess Records. And so, in 1955, Chuck Berry recorded his first hit, Maybelline. Maybelline was a blast. The song, a mix of blues and country with a fast-paced beat, hit the top of the rhythm and blues charts and crossed racial barriers to win over a white audience. Suddenly, Chuck Berry was a star. But this was just the beginning. In the years that followed, Berry released a series of songs that would define rock and roll. Johnny B. Goode, Roll Over Beethoven, Rock and Roll Music, and many more. His lyrics, filled with stories about teenagers, cars, and everyday life, resonated with a young generation looking for something new and exciting. And his guitar, with those iconic riffs and brilliant sound, became the heart of rock. If you are liking the video, remember to subscribe and leave your like. But Chuck Berry was not only a musician, he was a showman. His famous duck walk, that duck step he did while playing the guitar, became his personal trademark. He was an artist who not only played music, but lived it on stage. And that, coupled with his charisma and defiant attitude, made him an indelible figure. Berry wasn't just creating music, he was creating a culture. And in an era of racial segregation, he broke down barriers and brought his music to audiences of all races. His influence was so great that artists like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Jimi Hendrix cited him as one of their greatest inspirations. Chuck Berry didn't just change music, he changed the way people experienced it. His concerts were energy-filled shows, where the audience not only heard, but also felt the music. Berry had a unique connection with his audience, and his ability to blend humor, dance, and guitar virtuosity made him an icon. Moreover, his music transcended racial boundaries at a time when America was deeply divided. Berry proved that art could bring people together, and his success opened doors for other African-American artists in the music industry. His influence also extended beyond music. Berry became a symbol of rebellion and freedom, especially for young people. His songs spoke of fast cars, teenage love, and dreams of fame, themes that resonated with a generation looking to break away from social conventions. In addition, his unique style and defiant attitude inspired not only musicians, but also actors, writers, and visual artists. Chuck Berry not only created a musical genre, he created a cultural movement that is still alive today. However, Chuck Berry's life was not a bed of roses. In the early 1960s, his career was interrupted by a scandal. Berry was arrested and jailed for violating the Mann Act, which prohibited the transportation of minors across state lines for immoral purposes. This event marked a turning point in his life. Although Berry continued to record and perform after his release, he never regained the same level of commercial success he had in the 1950s. In addition, his complicated personality and strained relationship with other musicians and the music industry led him to face constant criticism and challenges. But Chuck Berry was a fighter. In the 1970s, his music experienced a resurgence thanks to the success of My Ding-a-Ling, a humorous song that became his only #1 on the charts. And, although some purists criticized this stage of his career, Berry proved that he still had the ability to connect with audiences. Moreover, his influence never stopped growing. Artists of all generations recognized his importance, and in 1986, he was one of the first to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Chuck Berry's legacy is immense. Not only did he invent rock and roll, but he also laid the groundwork for everything that came after. His music was the bridge between blues and rock, and his style influenced countless artists. From the riffs of Keith Richards to the solos of Jimi Hendrix, Chuck Berry's DNA is present in every guitar playing in rock. And not only that, his defiant attitude and ability to break racial and cultural barriers made him a symbol of freedom and rebellion. In 2017, Chuck Berry released his last album, Chuck, at the age of 90. This album, which included new songs and collaborations with artists such as Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine, proved that his creativity and passion for music never faded. Shortly thereafter, on March 18, 2017, Berry passed away at his home in Missouri. His death marked the end of an era, but his music and legacy live on. Today, when we listen to songs like Johnny B. Good or Roll Over Beethoven, it's impossible not to feel the energy and excitement that Chuck Berry gave to the world. He was not only a musician, he was a revolutionary. A man who, with his guitar and his voice, changed the history of music forever. So when we talk about the true king of rock, there is no doubt that title belongs to Chuck Berry, the man who invented rock and roll. Although his name doesn't always top best guitarists lists in modern rankings, his impact transcends any ranking. Berry didn't just write songs, he wrote the very grammar of rock, a language that artists from Bruce Springsteen to Ed Sheeran still speak today. His guitar was a hammer that broke chains, and his rhythm, the heartbeat of a revolution that still resonates in every distorted chord, in every shout of, "Go, Johnny, go!" As always, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and like us. See you in the next video.